Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I wanted to talk to you guys this morning a little bit about larger conibears, 220s, 330s. I wanted to talk a little bit about safety of these traps, as well as how to set these traps and how to use rope to set these traps or compress these springs if you are out on the line somewhere and you're not carrying a big trap setting tool. So we'll talk about the trap setting tool as well, and then we'll talk about how to do the same thing with just a piece of rope that you're probably already carrying. If you're carrying equipment we talked about the other day, you've got a couple pieces of rope with you anyway. So let's talk about that. Let me adjust the camera so we can see what we're doing, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, now I prefer to have my conibears already compressed and set with the safety latches on when I take my traps out. And what that does for you is it allows you to set those traps very quickly and easily in the wild, and you don't have to worry about messing with compressing the springs. The only time you got to reset this thing or mess with these springs is if there's something in it. It will not hurt these springs to stay compressed. That is, you know, a vicious rumor if anybody tells you that it will hurt those springs, because it will not. I've talked to professional trappers that have left these things set for years, even over the next season, come back and they're still just fine. So leaving them set for a little while in between going out and doing your sets is nothing. So at the beginning of the season, I compress my springs, I put all my traps where I'm going to put them, and then as I take them out to use them, they're already compressed. Now, let's talk about using a tool to compress these first, okay? Get our whiskers adjusted a little bit here so they're in the center of our trap and our dog. And here is our spring on one side. Now, the tool is just basically a large squeezing device that's made out of flat stock with a couple notches cut in it, and those notches are cut in there so that you can compress that spring. So we'll take our safety latch off and open that spring up as if this trap was not set yet or had something in it and we had to compress it. Now, if you want to carry something this heavy on the trap line with you, or you've got an ATV or a vehicle you're trapping out of, maybe you're long lining out of a truck, then you can get away with a lot more as far as carrying equipment goes. And setters like this are very handy. You just squeeze it, drop your safety latch over, let go, and you're good to go. All right? But if you don't have a setting tool, or you don't have the luxury of carrying something big and heavy like this, then you can also set this with rope. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. The other reason that comes in handy is because even if you are long lining or something and you're away from your vehicle, you're away from your backpack, whatever the case may be, and you have hung yourself in one of these traps, you're not going to compress these springs very easily by hand, and a piece of rope will help you get out of that trap if you get stuck in it away from your equipment. Okay guys, so I've got this trap and I've got one side of the spring right here that has not been set. So what we're going to do with this is, we're going to move this safety catch up the spring and out of the way for the moment. Then all we're going to do is take this rope and we're going to pass it through the eyes of that spring, one time through and a second time through, just like this. And what that's going to create is that's going to create a pulley system basically to compress that spring. Okay. Once we've got that done, we can, at that point, wrap the bottom of the rope around our foot, just like this. Again, keeping our safety device out of the way. And all we have to do is pull up, just like this, and that will compress that spring. Once we've got that compressed enough, then we can come in with our safety device, our safety lever, and latch it over the top, just like that, and let the tension off. And once we let that tension off, then we'll be able to get our rope out. But our trap is now set. Now, if you had something with a lot more beef, 330s aren't a whole lot worse than this. You might want to put a loop in that rope to stand in. You might want to put a loop in that rope to pull on. But for the most part, you can do it with a straight piece of rope, just like that, especially for a 220. And it works really good to use as a way to reset your trap in the field once you've caught something, or get something out of your trap to compress the springs, or to get yourself out of the trap if for some reason you would accidentally get yourself hung in it. Okay guys, well, I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I appreciate you joining me for another video in this modern trapping series. I thank you for everything you do for me, for my school, and for my family, and for my business, and we'll be back with another video as soon as we can.